Are you tired of kissing frogs to find your princess? Listen, if you're a man and you want to find the right girlfriend or wife, this video is for you. Probably you haven't even kissed enough frogs, let's face it, because to find somebody you're actually really compatible with, you have to taste a lot of different flavors. This idea that you will just marry your high school sweetheart, that's most likely not gonna happen. Sorry to have to break it to you. Yeah, but I've heard of this person, that person happens. Statistics, my friend, statistics, logical fallacies. This is about probabilities, not about possibilities. Anything is possible. You could go to Mars and find a Martian and make some special babies. That can work. But the probability that that's going to happen is rather low. The probability that you don't even know yet what you actually want, even though you've reflected on it, is also rather high. Now, does that mean that you have to go on hundreds of dates? Nonsense. You do have to reflect on what it is that you actually want and write down your must-haves and your nice-to-haves and your deal breakers, and you have to get a lot more experience. But at some point, you need to stop going on enough dates, or on dates rather, with frogs. You're going on dates with the wrong women. Why? One, because you're not having a phone call. You're not even having a phone call before the date to qualify whether there's any type of compatibility whatsoever, and your dating apps suck, and you're not approaching, and you're not sending messages on Instagram. That's why you're kind of taking whatever comes along, because something is better than nothing, right? Have you ever had that? Weeks and weeks, no dates, maybe a month or two, no date. And then something comes along, you're not that excited about it, but you're like, yeah, sure, look, something is better than nothing, because you have psychological needs, you have physiological needs. And so you go on the date, and either she loses interest in you, or you realize, well, that really isn't for me. If you want to find the right girlfriend or wife, yes, you got to kiss a couple of frogs, but you also have to elevate your standard. How do you do that? You build an amazing dating profile. You send messages on Instagram, and you actually start introducing yourself in person. But you, first of all, from a mindset level, have to understand that an amazing relationship won't just magically manifest itself from the heavens. There are so many opportunities that you're letting go by on a day-to-day basis, be that online or in person, when it comes to meeting the right one. Online, whoosh. Did you feel that? Whoosh. Your future wife just swiped left on you in that very moment, and you're left with a frog. We're here in Tenerife, by the way. We're in a pretty epic hotel, and that's the frog. Something is chewing on the frog right now. Some insect. Listen, you are letting too many opportunities go by because you're not proactive, because you haven't made a decision that this is an area that you actually want to solve. And since you haven't made the decision, you haven't fully aligned yourself internally to actually harness the opportunities that do or could present themselves to you if you put yourself out there online and in person. It's no question if you could find somebody. Tony Robbins says, change is never a matter of ability. It's always a matter of motivation. So what is your motive? Why is this important to you? Are you going to make a decision, or are you just going to wait? You can walk down to Whole Foods and meet your wife in Whole Foods. That could happen. It could happen that you meet her in a Starbucks. Chances are you've probably let a couple of potential future wives already walk by. Now, no problem, thank God. We live in a world that is rather abundant, and no matter how many opportunities you let go by, there'll always be another one. But what is also true is eventually you'll be too old. You're getting older every single day. As much as there's abundance, we also have to acknowledge the scarcity that time presents. This life presents an amazing and a unique opportunity. The reason we appreciate life is because it's scarce in nature. Anything that's not scarce, that exists in utter abundance, like water, for example, is not as scarce. Certain watches, they're more scarce. They're more expensive because of scarcity. Life itself is the most precious, the most valuable thing because it's scarce. Because no matter how much you're trying to cling on to this very existence, there will come a moment where this body of yours that you're inhabiting right now, will no longer be yours. If you're lucky, there will come a time where you're 110 years old, 92 years old, lying in a hospital bed with a whole body, and you got a couple of days left to live. And then you reflect upon your life. And will you reflect on 50 years of a relationship or being alone? Or will you reflect on your life with an immense level of gratitude because you've had beautiful relationships and you really milked it? Entirely up to you. Time is ticking. And that's not supposed to make you super anxious or super stressed. Let's talk about stress and pressure for a second. Pressure has utility until it doesn't. Up until a point of diminishing return, being a little stressed, putting a little bit of pressure on yourself is good. If it surpasses that threshold, that point of diminishing returns, then it actually has the opposite effect. Gunther Schmidt, one of Germany's best psychologists, who I've had the fortune to learn a lot from, he always says that pressure and increasing your own dissatisfaction with how things are, one of the ways to do that is to recognize that time is ticking, increases your willingness to change, but it doesn't increase your own sense of competence. That's why if you have too much pressure, then you feel incompetent, you feel disabled emotionally and cognitively, where you can't even think clearly anymore. You can't access your prefrontal cortex because all the blood is in the limbic system, in the back part of your brain. So, as far as I understand, from my pro-science understanding of what's happening. But it is true that literally blood leaves your prefrontal cortex. And this is where you think clearly, and then it goes into other more primal areas of the brain. The fear-driven centers, amygdala, limbic system, I don't fucking know, right? Anyway, you won't be able to think clearly. That is a fact. And so, a little bit of pressure is good, just not too much of it. If you have no pressure, then you're kind of just drifting through existence, and you're not making progress in your health, and you're not making progress in your business or your career. And if you've gotten those checked off, you're not making progress in your dating, in your relationship life, and you will waste the next 5 years. You know how much happiness you can get from being on a flight? I was on a 4.5-hour flight from Dublin with Fernanda, one of my best friends today, and just sitting next to a person who truly loves you. It's easygoing. Everything's amazing. No stress, no arguments. I remember with my ex-wife, I had arguments with her about, about the fact that look, this is what happened many, many years ago. And again, my ex-wife is not a bad person. We just weren't compatible, put it that way. I was sitting on a plane, we're flying to Barcelona, and I reached to the seat. I was about to press the button to recline the seat, and she grabs my hand and she goes, "Don't do that." I said, "Why?" She says, "You can't do that. You have to ask permission first." I said, "What? No, I don't." Obviously, I would consider myself a good human being, so I checked, pardon me, to make sure that the person behind me didn't have any hot soup on their tray that would spill all over their legs and cause a 2nd-degree burn. Obviously, I made sure of that. But I don't have to ask permission, so I reclined the seat. She didn't talk to me for 3 hours. That is not fun. You've had it. Maybe you're divorced. Maybe you've had some relationships, you probably had, where you felt tolerated and not desired. The level of compatibility simply wasn't there. So you've had plenty of arguments and you just didn't feel at home in the relationship. Now imagine somebody who truly loves you, somebody you're really physically attracted to, who supports you, who loves you, is easygoing. It's amazing. Perfect doesn't exist, but it's amazing. You have the same values. Maybe you'll start a family together. Maybe you'll just unite your current families. Whatever it is, maybe just the two of you, but it's beautiful. Just picture that for a second. Close your eyes for a second, not if you're driving. Imagine somebody by your side who truly loves you. You find her physically attractive. She smiles you. She desires you. She loves you. You love her. You're looking for ways to meet her needs. She's meeting your needs. And life is absolutely beautiful. What's wrong with life when you're in love? Nothing. It's amazing. And you can have it, but you gotta commit yourself to taking action. This does not happen by itself. People say, "David, you're so lucky to have somebody like Fernanda." Luck! Do you know how much work I had to put in to get there? Do you know how much suffering I had to go through with my ex-wife? And most importantly, because you could make an argument that the suffering wasn't a necessary prerequisite for me to be where I am right now, I kind of believe that God, life guided me there. But theoretically, the only thing that I really needed was 7 years ago when I was working for Salesforce, one of those big tech companies, was meeting my mentor. This guy could have been a dating coach himself. He's not as much of an attention hoe as I am, I guess, who wants to have his face all over social media, who wants to have 2 million people across different platforms watch his videos every month. Now we coach together. Oi. Now we coach together. But back then, I had to learn every single thing from him. I didn't know how to start a conversation. I didn't know how to text. 99% of men suck at texting. Now we coach men. We've coached men from 38, almost 40 countries, hundreds of them. We do it every single week. We love it. I'm here in Tenerife, and I'll be working all of those days. Now, I'm obviously going to take a little bit of time off and just enjoy time with Fernanda. But every day I'll be in touch with clients because I love it, because I really care about it. One, because selfishly, I just enjoy the activity of coaching, and I love the dating aspect, and I see the impact that it has. I know how much I suffered with my ex-wife. I know how much you've probably gone through your own suffering, or at the very least, a lack of happiness, and how much more happiness is available to you. Because what else is life about if it's not about happiness and meaning? That's all life is about. Making yourself happy, making other people happy. That's it. Now, not in a heuristics type of sense of eating as much chocolate, doing drugs, giving in to short-term pleasures, not doing the push-ups, avoiding the discomfort. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about true fulfillment and happiness. And one of the biggest areas that supplies you with that level of happiness is relationships. Yes, quality male friends, but the most important decision you'll ever make, the greatest source of happiness, is the woman you choose to have by your side. So, are you going to keep kissing frogs? Or are you going to go out there and find the right one? If you want me to help you with that personally, if you're a man with a successful career, your own business, an achiever, and you'd like help with that, click the link right now. You've watched enough videos. Click the link now and apply for a free initial consultation. And my team is going to get in touch. Looking forward to speaking with you soon. Take care.